Story number 1. I'm in soccer uniform lady. When I was kid, my parents always wanted me to be active after school, so I joined baseball and soccer teams since I loved the sports. At 14 years old, I had been playing for a soccer team we called the Purple Punks, and we were enjoying our third league championship win. All my teammates celebrated on the field as a team for a while before all going off to celebrate with their own families. Mine decided we would go to a fancy Mexican restaurant where they made the guacamole at the table. Now for this story, you must know that I was adopted from South America and both my parents are white. Anyways, as we sat down for dinner at a nice table, my mom told me to go wash my hands before dinner. Not a problem, time to find the bathroom. As I was looking for the bathroom, a really old white lady with what I can only remember as Great Gatsby-era gown on grabbed me tightly by the arm and sternly asked me for more chips and salsa. All I could get out was, "Huh?" before she cut into me for a couple seconds about being stupid and learning the language. As this went on, I struggled to get my arm away from her, but she kept her talons clamped onto my arm and raised up out of her seat and demanded to see a manager. Now I don't remember if she was with someone else or not, but once the manager came over to see what the problem was. That's when two other elderly white people came over and told him I should be fired for talking back to a customer. I couldn't believe it. I'm 14 years old in a black and purple soccer uniform. I still had my AstroTurf cleats on. Now that being said, if the restaurant had been soccer themed I might have understood, but all the waiters were in white shirts and black vests with black slacks. The manager was in a tailored suit. How did she think I was an employee anyways? The manager kept telling them that I was in fact a child and did not work for the restaurant. He had to repeat this multiple times and in different but increasing volume because she would not let go of me. It took my father and mother to both stand up and race over to the old lady and scold her like an old dog. They explained that I was their kid and that we were here to celebrate, but if the old lady didn't let go of me, then they were here for problems. They threatened legal action against all the old white people helping her for hate crimes as she was digging her bird-like talons into my arm as she held on to me, and then said they would do the same to the restaurant if they didn't kick her and her lackeys out of the restaurant. She started to get cartoonishly upset and tried to speak, but my father told her in a very stern and threatening voice that his brother and father were both Supreme Court judges and he couldn't wait to take everything she had. Not true, but he was also in a tailored suit. He even threatened to take her casket when she died. Damn you go, Dad. All three of them were then told to leave and never return. As they left, my father then turned and apologized to the whole restaurant and the staff for the racket and disgusting display of racism the old lady had displayed. As I scanned the restaurant sheepishly, in fear that every hated me for this disturbance, I could see a few smiles and heard even a few tables clapping. The restaurant offered to cover our meal in fear of legal action, but we paid anyway and left a huge tip. I remember asking why my dad tipped so much, and he said that the staff had probably been dealing with that old lady far longer than we had, so I was only right they got compensation for that. Sorry to ramble. Story number 2. You're right, I'm the dumbest person on the planet. Thanks. I'm a 20-something book enjoying coffee drinker, so naturally I end up where the other couple million 20-something book enjoying coffee drinkers go, my local bookstore. I'm not there frequently enough that I get recognized, but I'll do some window shopping and have a coffee every so often. They did some reorganizing a while back and a bunch of sections got moved around, and from that came this lovely encounter. I'm browsing the new arrival displays, drinking my latte, and an older lady taps my shoulder and asks me to point her towards the romance section. I have no idea where the romance section went, but I don't see an employee to send her to, and it really isn't that big of an inconvenience to give it a shot. I start my answer with, I don't know, but dash, and she interrupts me. She says it's really unprofessional that I don't know where anything is. Ha! She goes on a tirade about how dumb I must be to not know where anything is, and what was the point of reorganizing the whole place if I can't even remember where things got moved. I did question at first if she thought I worked there, but I dismissed the idea because surely, she couldn't be that dense. Folks, I was in a skirt and heels. I had a basket of books and a coffee. I was carrying a purse. I couldn't have looked less like an employee if I tried. I told her as much, and she just got madder. Well, you just look like you work here. It's not my fault you're too dumb to correct people. TBH, that hurt my feelings a little, but I realized I had a superpower no employee at that store did, the ability to walk away from angry customers. So I did. Ignoring someone never felt so good. I think she hunted down a manager and started complaining to them, but I'm not sure how she managed to identify one in the first place. A bit anticlimactic, yeah, but getting to ignore a mean customer at my actual job is my biggest fantasy, and this was the closest I've ever gotten to fulfilling it. Number 3. Nice lady at the store takes advantage of my beauty guru skills. Hello everyone, finally I have story to share here and I am so excited. Not such a juicy Karens get their asses kicked, arrested, divorced, lost custody and sentenced for life kinda story, but still, I hope this makes it to YouTube or SMTH so I can send it to my friends LMAO. Okay, so I work as a software engineer. Our company has a small office at a skyscraper plaza that is directly connected to a huge shopping mall. It's usually where us corporate slaves go to get our lunches. I also like to spend my breaks walking around the mall. It helps me take a breather away from the stuffy office air, and is good for waking me up. Seriously, fellow corporate slaves, take a walk during the breaks if you have a falling asleep during shift problem. Also try to replace it with water if it's already your 4th cup of coffee for the day. But I mainly like these walks because I can do some window shopping and plan for whatever unnecessary things I am going to buy for the end of the month when I get my paycheck, so that my uncooked chicken-ass wrinkleless brain can squeeze out the tiniest drop of dopamine juice and I can finally feel something. And again on one of these lovely days, just a few hours before I have to meet with the IT team of a client bank that generally likes to set up 4-hour meetings, and no pee breaks, I decided I'd take another one of these walks and visit a beauty store. Now I'm not really sure if this type of store exists outside my country, but it's basically a supermarket only for makeup and other beauty products, so it is the main go-to place if you need something of that sort. I am also dressed very businesswoman, straight out of a dark academia Pinterest board but with a little touch of grunge and e-girl fashion influences on it. I am really showing my age here, but dear readers, I promise I am a very serious businesswoman and do serious business with very serious clients. I just like to add a bit self-expression into every outfit, with the accessories and the makeup and other small details, even if it is for work. But at the end of the day I am wearing a shirt, a blazer and work pants basically. Well, while I am browsing the store for something that can help me try replicate the mermaid core looks I found on TikTok, I suddenly hear a middle-aged lady call out to me with a meek voice, asking for help. Now I know I talk big, but I really am no makeup expert. My major was computer sciences and engineering, where 5 out of every 3 person enrolled was male. During my studies sometimes I would see a girl in the mirror, which was me, and get a jump scare because I hadn't seen a girl in so long. But ever since I graduated and started working full-time, I've been trying re-explore the feminine side of myself, and I have been watching all kinds of beauty gurus, style experts, makeup review and get ready with me videos, so I know a thing or two. And this lady seemed really confused about a lot of things. She was holding 2 different blush colors and asked for testers. Nobody in the country has put out any testers since March 2020. I told her they don't make testers anymore, and her best bet was to search the brand online and see if any influencer made a review with swatches. She looked sad. I took a peek in her basket and there was another mess going on in there. She had a Maybelline burgundy bar and a few different lipstick colors, which were mostly cool-toned, all sharp reds and pinks, and she was a very warm-toned person with a goldenish glow to her. Honestly, when she heard the no testers, she looked so meek and small and sad that I had to help her. Firstly, I talked her out of buying any Maybelline eyeshadow palette ever because they are flaky and unpigmented. Then I researched online to show her blush colors for certain brands that I know are good quality, which was definitely not the one she was holding onto at first. I also advised her to pick lipstick colors to match the blushes or else she'd look like a mess. I basically took her around the store to build her a beginner makeup kit, with all of the essentials, considering her skin type and her general color complexion. When we were done, she looked so happy that she insisted she'd take me to the cashiers for my commission. At this point I'm thinking she must be a foreigner. No store like this in our country has ever had a culture of giving commissions to employees. That is when my brain finally computed. She didn't ask me for help because my highlighter looked bomb or anything. She thought I worked there. The staff does have a uniform, but it's likely that my outfit made me seem like a manager. Well, damn, I really don't work here, but by now I am in too deep and way too embarrassed to tell her. Also, I'm gonna have to skip my one last pee break before the 4-hour meeting starts if I don't want to be late. I just mumble something incoherent, and before she can say she couldn't hear me, I duck away. Thankfully the store was very crowded. I made it in time for my very serious meeting with very serious clients, and my bladder did not explode that day. Most important thing here is that, as someone who had struggled with internalized misogyny for years, I'm really happy I was able to help someone out who looked as sad she did, just with the help of my traditionally feminine side. It feels nice. To quote Daphne Blake from Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed, I enjoy being a girl, laughing face.